Yo, 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 what's going on? What's happening, family? Okay, YouTube just automatically threw me in the fray. Hey, welcome in, everybody, man. So we're waiting on a guest, but until our guest arrives, welcome into the live stream. We're gonna do a wrist check as soon as he gets in. What's up, Kevin Cook? But today, man, we got a special guest, man. We're gonna sit back and talk, relax, and we're gonna learn some stuff, man. Learn some stuff. Yeah. I'm glad you guys are here with me on this Friday. This is awesome. Cool beans. Hold on. Now I just got to keep checking to see when my guests are coming up. What's up, Kev? What's going on, brother? And anybody that's coming in right now, I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for the thumbs up so far. It's Friday. It's beautiful. And later on, until I guess get here, later on today, I'll be going out to where am I going to? Moyer Jewelers. They have a auction tonight. I think starting around between 6 and 7, maybe going into like, was it 5? I always get there early. All the time. I always get there early. All right, just making sure my guest wasn't. What's going on? Welcome in. Thank you for the thumbs up. So yeah, so this weekend is going to be a pretty interesting weekend. Oh, speaking of which, last night, I had the opportunity to go to K Jewelers, and Tuesday, we're going to be doing something special. Um, there's a podcaster. There's a podcaster that's going to be there, and this kid is a Wiley Kid survivor, right? And he's going to be telling the story and stuff like that. I haven't met him yet, but I will be going live there too. And I've already received a lot of your donations through Cash App. We're going to buy a bunch of the Wiley Bears. That money goes to Wiley Children. I'm going to be donating. We're buying a dozen, but I'm going to be donating 10 of them. I'm keeping two, and I'm taking those to Little Red Door, which will be supporting them as well. All right, let's see here. Right. And give me a second. I'm making sure I'm waiting for my guest, so I'm making sure. Hold on, y'all. Give me just a moment. All right. All right. Hasn't gotten here yet, but wait, my guest will be here shortly. We'll be here shortly. What's up, Woody? How you doing? Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hey, Rich Check, what you guys wearing right now? What are you guys rocking? I'm waiting for my guest to get in, and once my guests get in, we'll do our wrist checks, and then we're gonna jump right into the show. I learned something very valuable about YouTube. Um, so originally, when you do one of these type of lives, I see that it waits for. What's up, Tim? It gives you a split screen for you and your guest. And oh, good afternoon. What's up, John? What's up, Tim? Welcome in. It sends a gives you this screen for the guest, and it's just like a waiting area. Well, I guess they only give you so much time to wait. And when I looked up, I said, "Okay, we're live. All right." I didn't even get a chance to bring my guest in. You're wearing a Casio Oceanus. The dial is blue. Okay. Eddie dies 46 millimeter ocean blue. I'm looking forward to tonight, man. Going so in a couple of hours, I'm gonna head over. Like Moyers is like right up the street, not too far, probably about like 10 minutes from where I'm at right now. Back on deck. What's up, Hannibal? Hope you feeling better. Um, yeah, man, I'm be heading over there. No, I'm not going live. I'm not recording in there, um, so to speak. But hold up for a second. Hold on. Let's see here. I don't think I have to leave out of here to go because I've done this with question for everyone. What watch would you wear to sporting events like Major League or NFL games? Gold medal G homage from Skinny. um, Now to answer that question, John, I have I've been to a couple of games. I normally wear like I wear a Hamilton. Um, when the Bears played here, I wore my Hamilton crosswind because with that orange strap, blue dial. I don't necessarily have to wear a Bears watch, so to speak. And the only way you're gonna get a Bears watch now is if you buy it from the NFL shop, which I have one. Don't like it. It's just yeah. I don't even think it's real actual metal. The other one is Invicta or Breitling. And to be honest, I've seen those NFL watches through Breitling. I think they're cool, but like for the price, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of having like if I'm going to spend that kind of money, like between $7,000 to $9,000, I don't want to spend it on a sports team timepiece. I mean, I can actually out. No, I won't do it. But yeah, I'm wearing either like a sub or one of my Hamilton pieces to a game, well, which I have worn to games. Okay, give me a second. Let me see. I think we're having trouble getting our guest on. Give me just a moment, y'all. Okay, all right. Biden released another NFL watch, cheaper. Three the hard way, Hannibal. I heard. I haven't looked at it. I'm going to look at it. Let me see if they have them on. When Moyer debuted them last year, they had the Colts, and then like a month after they had the Bears version. What watch do you? Okay, I hope I don't have to. That's interesting. I'm hoping I don't have to close out the whole live. To, oh wait, what's this? Super chat. Okay, no, no, no. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, okay. All right. Okay. All right. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. My man, Rich.
What's happening, brother? How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good, man. So let me do this properly. Let me do this properly. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, anybody that is into watches, anybody that loves horology or just follow it just even a little bit, may I introduce you into you a man of mystery, a man of wonder, a man of pristine taste. He has dove into one of the hardest parts of watchmaking and decided to come out with craftsmanship, art, artistic, if you will. All right, and he's accompanied by one of the dopest women that I've met. And yes, ladies, there are women out there that's collecting. May I introduce to you this man from Colorado, from the 5280 Watch Company, Mr. Rich. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you today?
Man, man, bro, blessed, brother, blessed. Been excited to have you on. I know we've been talking about this for quite some time, man, and I really wanted to introduce you to everybody here and get a feel for what 5280 is. But before we get into the brand, because I definitely want to dive in because, bro, there's so much that I didn't get a chance to talk to you about. Tell us who Rich is. Who are you, sir, and what got you into watches?
Wow. So obviously, my name's Rich Keel, the founder and CEO of 53 Watch Company. Um, art, art is what got me into watches. I have a deep appreciation for craftsmanship and art. I've been collecting watches for upwards. I don't know. Bought my first mechanical watch in 1987.
Mm,
So quite a few years ago. So what do we got? 25, 23, almost 50 years.
okay,
You
okay.
know, 40 years, whatever. And from that point forward, my original Seiko 5 has just, led me down a path of trying to find unique pieces, and things that
Mm,
represent me as a person. And I consider all watches to be a form of art.
mm,
They vary from, simplistic, stickman art, all the way through, Michelangelo.
mm,
Um,
okay.
there's a lot of stuff that happens to get a watch on your wrist. There's a lot of thought, there's a lot of creative design that goes into it. Even the things that you don't think of. The simplest dive watch has still got somebody who took some time, and thought about it.
Mm,
So,
yeah, and you know what? Let me say this, man. I appreciate just running into you and having this opportunity because I've been doing a deep dive and we're gonna get into 5280 because I'm curious about something. I'm gonna ask you in a second, but dude, I took a deep dive on just art as a whole, right? Like, so Gilshay has been used on so much, even like bills, banknotes, money, like ivory, wood, like bro, it's everywhere, and it made me think about my grandmother had coins and like these little pocket square things, man, that had Gilshay on. I remember this stuff, man,
uh-huh,
and I was like, dude, Gilshay has been a part of our lives for a long time, like just unsuspecting, right? So now that brings me full circle. I read a story about you on Worn and Wound, right?
uh-huh.
Pretty nice article. I don't know if you've seen it or got a chance to see it, but beautiful article on you and your how you came into your watchmaker or your designer, right?
Uh-huh.
We can get into that. But what what possessed you to start your own watch company?
The inability to get a model watch that I wanted. It was either unattainable due to timing,
Mm-hmm.
3+ years, or due to money.
Mm-hmm.
$25,000 and up.
Mm.
And I looked at this, and it was selfishly, like I wanted a watch for me.
Right.
I have a very unique collection. I've got a few mainstream things, but everything, you pick the brand, and I probably have I have a watch that's one of their weird, things. Um,
Mm.
Even like Seiko 5, I've got that, but then I've got, one of their, enameled linen type dials, that's got,
Right.
a pattern on it, and it's just, one of those weird ones within the Seiko collection. Um,
Okay.
it's about finding, things that speak to who I am, and what I
Okay.
bring to the table. And my watch, I don't buy watches, to impress people. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't care.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
At the end of the day, there are things that represent my individuality,
Okay.
and everything I buy and everything I make, falls into that same thing. It has to be different. It has to make a statement, about
Mm.
who you are as a person.
Gotcha. 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 Okay. Now, as I'm searching, right, I didn't put the piece together. So I said, wait a minute, 5280. I wonder why he chose 5280. What is that about, right? And then it dawned on me, like, you got the mountains as a logo, right, in your
Uh-huh.
shield from Colorado. And I said, 5280, what is that? That's like measurement, that's a mile. I was like, nah, that can't be it. And then I looked on your website and I said, no, it is. It's a mile above sea level. I was like, yo, that's like a bar, bro. You like hip hop or something. I said, that's crazy. Wow. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so how did you come up with that, bro? Like 5280. Like, how did that come to be?
That's the elevation we live at. And
Okay.
it really represents us. We set the bar high. You know, there's
Woo!
there's nobody, there's almost nobody making watches at our elevation. First, we got our friends, up the street with Fordic and Colorado Watch Company up the street, RT, great
Oh
people.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But they aren't doing this, but we want that, we want people to know where we come from, and what we're doing, because
Mm.
like all of our watches, you look at all the colors, they all represent all the shades, all the
Mhm.
color palette that we see here in Colorado every day.
Ooh. Okay. All right, man. Cause it. All right. This is a good segue. I didn't do with this in the beginning. What do you got on your wrist, my man?
Right now, nothing.
Nothing. Okay. So what did you have on? What if you were to choose a watch? What watch would you put on right now?
Oh, hang on. I'll go to it. Let me take the video off for a second.
Okay. All right. And in the meantime, there is a differentiation between pastimes and hobbies. The latter is shared experience. The former can be done in solitude, neither being
So
mutually exclusive. Oh wow.
that let's see where we at here.
Ooh. Hey, that's my color right there. Hold up, man. See. I see what you're doing, Rich. You know, I like that color, bro.
Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yes, I can see. Yeah, I see it. I see it.
All right. Well, the funny thing is that one um, is not even your color. That's a new one that we are getting ready to launch, here in a few days on Kickstarter. We're switching. We typically do. We can get into this in a minute. Basataya, so vitreous enameled, glass over top of guilloche, hand engraved guilloche. We're
Okay.
getting ready to release, niobium dial versions of our engraving. So we're switching. We're not switching. We're offering a different a variation on our models
Right.
that are
Right.
all niobium dial. So think titanium,
Uh huh.
um, but niobium is much more color friendly to anodizing, and we can get some crazy colors out of that.
Mm. Now I read that. Okay, so like when you were at Kokomo,
Uh-huh.
you showed me a watch, same dial, same way you put it together, but it had a different hue to it. right?
Yes.
And you said it's just a matter of how long you keep it inside the oven. Am I correct?
Well, no. Yes and
Okay,
no.
okay,
Okay. So
okay,
you can change, when, let's talk about, our main models right now, which are,
okay,
um, they are Bassataille. It's Basse-Taille. It's a French term. It
okay.
means low engraving. It's been around since 1279. Started in Italy, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it just means that you take some type of metal,
Uh huh.
typically a precious metal, silver, gold, platinum, you know, whatever. You engrave it with a very shallow pattern, typically somewhere between 3 and 6 microns, so zero point 0.3 millimeters, zero point 0.6 millimeters. And then you take crushed glass and you layer it over top, you sprinkle it over top of it, or you paint it on, and then you fire it in a kiln. And that gives you the glass that you look down through with the translucent enamel. You look down through and you see the engraving underneath it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that can happen when you go to color it. So you can control the color by temperature firing, by length of firing, by thickness of the enamel, by the number of layers of enamel that you put on it. But it's
Mm-hmm.
also, there are some things that are out of your control, which is your substrate. In our case, the ones you looked at, we're using our French blue color,
Okay.
and we use silver from two different lots. So, you know, one was one silver plate and one was another, piece of silver. And even though they're 999, which is, is almost as pure as you can get, there's still that 0.001 of
Right.
something, whatever that something is, phosphorus, whatever, that
Right.
with certain animals can impact the color, and you don't have any you have no input on that.
Wow. Okay. 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 Wow. Okay. So that was interesting, man. I mean, so the thing for those of you guys that didn't get a chance to go to Kokomo or like in like our relationship actually started in Chicago. I went out there and met you and your wife in Chicago, and I was blown away by just like that was crazy, right? Because I've had Gil say style watches, right?
Uh-huh.
And I saw on YouTube before this is years ago what it takes, like the whole lathe and everything that it takes to make that, right? But it wasn't until you explained it to me how many hours it takes for you or your designer to cut into this metal and get the designs and 30 hours, right? 25 to 30 hours, you said. And that's not a guarantee that that dial's gonna come off of.
Well, that includes the enameling. For the actual engraving itself, we're
Uh huh.
probably in the neighborhood of 12 to 15 hours or a little bit more on that.
Man, that's still a lot of hours, man. That's more hours than I want to put in work.
Yeah, right?
That's a lot of hours, bro. But that's okay. So all right. So yo, like the enameling and everything. That okay. All right. So my thing is, right now, I saw that was it goes back to the 1500s. But what amazed me when researching this, I seen who is it? Louis Breguet actually made it popular,
Yep,
right? And it was like it was huge. And you got companies like Patek, you got Chrono Swiss that do it. And then they said during the 1900s when they started mass producing watches, it kind of just died out.
yep,
And here we are. And when did you start your company? Because online it said 2023. Is that correct?
yep. We did 2023.
So
Yep,
2023, Rich comes out with this idea and said, you know what, I'm going to join the watch market and I'm going to do it unlike anything else. And I'm going to say that takes Vic Cahunes to do that style because everybody, and I'm not knocking any other brand. I love Microbrands. I told you. It's one of
yep,
my favorite watches to get. But you are on a whole different trajectory. Like
yes.
you chose something that was completely different. So let me ask you this. Well, we've seen some of your work for some of the people. You don't have a lot out there, but I mean, as far as like content, there's a few. There was a guy that interviewed you. I can't remember where you were, but let me ask you this: how many places have you been to show your watches off to people?
We've done at least 20 watch shows.
Ooh, wow.
New York, Chicago, San Francisco, LA, Austin, Dusseldorf, um, yeah, Philadelphia, DC, Kokomo.
Okay. So like somebody was asking, there's a question in there. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on Europeans doing gill shade? Kadoki,
yeah.
Benzinger.
So Benzinger, Kudoki, I'm a little familiar with. Benzinger, Joachim Benzinger, that guy's doing it right. That he's
Mm,
doing what we're doing. All right. J.M.
okay.
Shapiro out of California doing what we're doing. Those guys, they get on that Rose engine and they engrave it by hand. There's no controls, there's no automatic depth sets, there's no cheating. Like this is the artist. Hey, unlike you, I'm not afraid to
Yeah.
throw people under the bus. Don't lie to
I,
me and tell me
I
you're doing
know,
something you're
bro.
not doing.
I know.
No, so I see Hannibal asked that question, and I'm going to come back to you in a minute, Hannibal, with RGM and Shapiro. So yeah, they are doing amazing, amazing stuff. Um,
I'm
so let me go
man.
back to your Shapiro and RGM
Go ahead.
question there. I have not had the pleasure to talk to Mr. Shapiro, but Roland at RGM is one of the reasons that our company exists. Um, I had a friend reach out to him, and we went to him first because we wanted somebody to engrave our dials, and I had a different enamel maker. And Roland was kind enough to have a conversation with me and said, "I can't do it. I don't have the time. I've got too many of my own projects and too many other people that I'm working with. And as you hear from me, you can only do so many in a year, and Roland's got his hands full. So he put me in touch with Doug Lindow, who owns Lindow Rose Engines in Pennsylvania, who's the guy who's still one of the few rose engine makers in the world, who's still making those currently. And he said the same thing to me. He couldn't do it, but he put me in touch with my artist um, here in Denver, in the Denver area. They're all members of the Plumier Foundation. That's plumier.org. That's the organization of ornamental turners. So,
Mm,
whether it's wood, metal, whatever it is, this organization is trying to keep this particular, craft alive. And they're all members of this. So they put me in touch with Bill, our our dial maker up in Boulder. And so literally, thanks to Roland, um, we have um, we have our watches.
wow. Wow. That's amazing, man. Okay.
Yeah, and
So
RGM is great. Love them. I
yeah,
like I
yeah,
I
yeah,
love them for any number of different reasons. And I just see
yeah.
John D. Watch collecting is art collecting. You're exactly right. We make art that happens to tell time. So does RGM. So does Benjinger. That's exactly what it is. Art that tells time.
All right. So you gotta. Now that's one thing about doing live streams. Be prepared for like the silliness, the crazy questions and stuff like that. People come in and troll and whatnot. And I'm no stranger to it. And I'll say this: welcome in to anybody that if you have an inkling or just a little hint of interest in watchmaking or just buying watches, we have one of the greatest entrepreneurs. I'm gonna call you an entrepreneur enthusiast. Um, right here, and you get to see and you get to ask questions, stuff like that. If you got anything other than that, you have come to the wrong place because we don't engage in all the other stuff. We don't do politics. We don't do none of that. Um, Obviously, you see my color scheme. You see his color scheme, but it's still my brethren on this side. So, if you got anything other than watch, you have to go find Smut TV to go do that. We don't do that over here. So, thank you for playing the game. Now, Rich, I sat down with you and your wife outside of watches. You are
Uh-huh.
a drink connoisseur, and you got me looking at other. Bro, listen, I pulled up to the bar and I explained the drink. I didn't know the name of it, but I explained the drink, and they said, "Oh, okay, we can get that done." I was like, "All right." I said, "Hold up, I got to taste it first. If it's not right, you can send it back." And yeah, man. What is your drink of choice? Your favorite drink of choice? If
It,
you were just gonna have
hey,
just a regular cocktail.
no, it's always champagne.
Champagne? Okay. Oh,
always.
hey, hey, you chose a good one, ladies and gentlemen. I got a chance to sit down and break bread with him, his wife Amy, which is amazing. Great friends. I enjoyed that, bro. Man, I thought I was telling my buddy. I said, dude, they are really nice people. Like we talked about watches for like a second, and we just got into life and just everything else, man. So I greatly appreciate you just sharing your life with me. That was I love you.
Well, and let me expound on that a little bit because yes, we make watches. Yes, we're in business, you know, but we have a different agenda than that
Hmm.
because you know, I'm watching the comments here, and I'm not sure, Robert Wood, if that comment is directed at my boy Trap here or myself, but I will be in Austin for the Austin show, so I hope to see you there. This is about craftsmanship and art and life,
Hmm.
and it's about like we don't have customers for our company. We have new family, and you're part of our watch family. And we got a customer that we made a couple watches for, who's kind enough to buy a couple of our watches, and he lives here in the Denver area. And I said, hey man, just let me know where you want to meet. I'll drop them off to you, whatever. And he's like, no, we're not going to do that. You pick a place. We're gonna go have a drink. We're gonna have a bite to eat. We're gonna break some bread together, and then you can give me my watches that I paid you for. He wants to take us out, for the time that we put in with him. And that's the kind of relationship, it's like taking the family and going to an art museum, man. You want
Mm,
to, we want to bond with everybody when it comes to this because it's that important for us.
okay. And I believe that, bro. Like, cause y'all, I know everybody don't get the opportunity. One thing that I don't take for granted is being in the time frame where you can actually talk to a watchmaker, somebody that came up with this business. Like, you don't get that, like, because you can't go back and talk to Louis Breguet. He's long gone. None of the forefathers, all right,
Right.
as far as watches is concerned. So I don't take that for granted. But talking about your watches, right now, you have a failure success rate. I thought was pretty interesting. I want to touch on that because I want people to know when you're making. So we can see the finished product. What goes on before we see it? What do you
Yeah.
have to deal with on your end?
Yeah. Give me a second here. So I see a comment there from Hannibal. I will come back to you on the movements because that's a longer answer than 5 seconds. So I'll come back to that in a minute. And Kevin Cook. I think that's directed at me, and we'll touch back on that. Um, so, Trap, our failure rate it averages about 75% on our dials. Um, we lose about 10 to 15% of our dials during the engraving process, and then we lose another 60 to 70% when we're actually doing the enameling, and that's after we've got 12 to 15 hours in a dial. Um,
Wow.
so, and I literally, I've met up with Bill yesterday to pick up the two dials for our customer here this weekend, and he literally showed me the four dials that we lost making the very first dial for this customer. So at the end of the day, we were talking about it, and there was 8 failed dials to get two dials. So we lost. Yeah, we lose. That's an 80% failure rate.
Jeez. We okay, and but you've been doing this since 2023,
Yep.
and that's the norm. You're just accustomed to it at this point.
Mhm. But it doesn't make it any less heartbreaking. So let
Okay.
me ask, let me address Tim Teasman's comment here.
Yeah.
Um, no, we can't really recover them. If they fail when we're doing the engraving, we can recycle the silver. But let's be honest, silver's, I don't know, what is it, $40 an ounce right now? And
Yes.
it's not super expensive. It's not like we're $3,800 an ounce. There's the reason we don't use white gold is because we fail this much. We don't want to try and recycle that. Now, Tim, once we put the enamel on it,
Hmm.
we really can't recover it because the enamel bonds um, chemically to the silver. So, we can send it out, but we might get, I don't know, $3 an ounce for it because they have to clean it up and redo it. So, what we try to do is if one fails, we don't put it in a dial. Depending on how it fails, we try to use it. We'll make a pendant out of it. We'll make a sample dial out of it that we can show, hey, this is what happens when it fails. We try to use
Mm,
it for some other purpose, but as far as putting it in a watch or recovering it from, not really. Yeah, and the failure rate's insane. John, it's um, sometimes it's user error. Sometimes the dog bumps into Bill and it moves his hand and he trashes a dial.
mm,
When he's in his workshop. Um, sometimes the enamel just doesn't work. Enamel's really
mm.
finicky. We don't control that. So, and Hannibal, no. If you don't mind, Drab, I'm going to answer a couple questions because I see them coming through and I want to address them. So Hannibal, Japanese guilloche techniques, same thing. It doesn't matter where you are. There's a lot of ways to do guilloche. Um, you know, True guilloche for me, we can argue about the definition. It just means an engraved piece of metal. You can stamp it, you can laser cut it, you can CNC it. Okay, but that's not the real deal. All right.
Mm.
Yes, technically it's guilloche. I'm not going to have that argument with people because I'll take what we're doing over what other people are doing every day of the week because there's a human hand that touches it, and it makes it unique every time. With laser, CNC, and stamping, you can make it exactly the same every time. And when you want to be like everybody else, you can have those. When you want to be different, and you want to be unique, that's when you get Benzinger. That's when um, you get our stuff. That's when you get Shapiro because it can't be duplicated every time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I think that's the beautiful thing about, when I was looking at your dials and everything, man. Piece uniques, man. And I told you I shared a conversation I had with another collector that was
Uh-huh.
looking at your pieces, and they asked me. They said, "Do you think this would be a good watch for like a first time collector?" And I said, honestly, no. I think that you need to graduate into it unless you're artistic. If that's something that you like, then of course, yeah. But I think you would need to know and appreciate what it is before you buy it. Because like I'm gonna tell you this, I actually went online. You've been reviewed on Reddit in a couple of other places. It's not a lot of people that's reviewed you.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, and I have it written down, the biggest complaint people have about your company is it doesn't have the heritage. You're pretty much a new company, right? So people don't know what you have, which
Yeah.
hopefully after stuff like this and the more shows you go to, people get an idea of what you are. But on the flip side to that, it said exceptional craftsmanship. This is what the people that own your product. The enamel and guilloche is at the highest level I've ever seen. Uh, Recommend because it's customized to you. This is what people are saying. This is
Mhm.
what online right now. And the use of Swiss movement versus an NH35. That was
Yeah.
what somebody put, a couple people put in there.
Yeah.
Which
So
I
let me.
know you had a movement question.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hannibal had a movement question. So let me address that. We use the Swiss movement. I listen. The the Miota movements, the Seiko movements are period the end spectacular. I mean, we're getting ready to move to a Seiko owned company, which is La Joux. We use Selena
Mm.
right now. We use their SW210 workhorse movement. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It tells time. It keeps time. You know, let's not make a movement bigger than what it is. All right. And I don't care whether you're buying a $50 NH35 or you're buying an AP, the movement just tells time. At the end of the day, you just want a quality movement. And that's why we're switching to um, La Joux, not because it's that much of a better movement. It's just easier for us to work with them to customize to get it exactly like we want it. Salita's a little more off the shelf. You can do some customization, but we want that. But we're also moving towards, we'll be working with, we're launching an in-house movement so we can decorate it the way we want. That comes out. We're releasing that fourth quarter of this year, most likely in Prague. at the Micro Praha there, and then next
Mm.
year, in one of our new models on a 38 millimeter model, we're switching to the Valsher movement, which is the exact same movement that AP uses in their Royal Oaks.
What?
Yep.
So that's what you were telling. Woohoo!
Yep.
Woo! My man going upscale. So like, as far as, hey, I told you, bro. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. So you're moving upscale, bro. Like, so you're pretty much you're not really. It seems like you're not looking at the landscape. You're creating it as you go. Am I correct there? Like, because right now the landscape is, affordability, get something to kind of get the people interested. But like, you're literally moving in your own lane
Yes.
right now, from what I'm seeing. Okay, all
I
right. I just
don't.
want to make sure I'm clear on
Yeah.
this.
I don't. It is. You know. It is one of those things that um, I want to have a variety out there. Um, and somebody asked a question. I didn't see the question. Somebody said, "Good question, Tim." I don't know what the question was. Um,
Hold up. Let me see.
um, yes, we will. Tim, the answer is yes. We will be on our in-house movement. We will be doing guilloche on some of the parts. One of the things that we're doing with that we won't be doing guilloche on is we're doing Damascus steel on our main bridge.
Oh, you dropping some heat today. You
Well,
didn't
I'm
get me
like
prepared.
I'm
I
gonna.
wasn't prepared for this, Rich. You put me.
Um, you know, it is. It's. I do this for me. I do
Yes,
this to
sir.
make the watches that I want to wear on my wrist.
Mhm.
And like I understand what John's saying, that there is and will continue to be value in the movement choice. I absolutely agree. And that's why we want to offer a varying a number of movements for people who, while I do this for me, I want people to enjoy what we're doing. And some people just look at it and like, they're like, well, I don't want a movement with a Salida in it. I want a movement with a Voscher movement, or I want an in-house movement, or I want an LJP. We have the ability, we have the flexibility because I own the company. I can do whatever I want to do, so I can
And
offer
it
these
gives you
things to
options.
people, so that we have different price points along the way because we want everybody to experience, to be able to experience this kind of art on their wrist without having to break the bank. Um, Creedor just released their Gold Feather edition, and you know, they start at 26,000 euros for
Mm.
a rose engine turned guilloche dial with vitreous enamel. Like you don't have to spend that kind of money to get this kind of art.
Well, you know what, Rich? And I told you this before. I ain't no watchmaker. I enjoy it, but I'm gonna say that as long as I've been collecting and I've been to different forums, I've been looking at all the different interviews and stuff. I have been to multiple watch events. There's always a want. There's always a want from people that like, I will buy that, but they don't have this. If they use this movement, or I don't want it off the shelf. So when a company hits every aspect, right, they give you what you want, and then you look at the price tag and be like, oh no, I don't want that. It shouldn't be this. And it's weird to me because I was just watching a video or a podcast, if you will, and there's certain brand names that if somebody popular wears that or say it's the thing, boom, they're like, okay, that's the what they're gonna seek. Or even if they can't buy it, that's like, hey, that's a desired piece. And I said that about yours because I was like, all right, so I know a few companies that are doing guilloche right now. Some that saying they putting out 2,000, some that say they putting out 100, some 50, whatever the case is, depending on what size. And you told me that, like, well, you said this yourself. If you aren't traveling or doing something, you may be able to squeeze out a few more because it's all hands on deck. But on
Yeah.
average, you say you got about between 100 to 150, somewhere
Yep.
around there per year.
Yep.
So, and you brought up some other stuff too about laser edging and doing those type of gill shades. But there are some companies that say they're doing hand making gill shade, but they're putting out 1,000 to 2,000 a year. And I said, okay, there's a discrepancy to me because I'm like, wait a minute, I talked to you and I've seen another YouTube video where it's like I could do maybe 200. And I was like, well, I'm looking at the process. I said, man, that looks like you have to be focused. And I saw like when you're doing everything, putting the glass, putting everything together, and then throwing it in the oven and hoping this thing don't crack.
Right.
you know. So I'm like, man, if you're putting out 2,000, your error rate, like you probably out of 2,000, like you got to be doing $4,000 or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I'm gonna tell you this: the math ain't mathing to me. I'm gonna just throw that out there. You know what I'm saying? But again, I don't know much because I'm not a watchmaker. I'm just a fan of the art. That's it. Let me see. I
Yeah.
want to make
You
sure I
know,
got if there's any other questions.
they are, you know, like I watch this every day. Um, when it comes to Bill and my conversations with him every day, and the level of attention to detail that is required to do this is just beyond me. And
Mm,
I do all the assembling and the regulating the watches, so I know attention to detail, and it's still not that level. I mean, he's working. We're talking the micron level to try and get this engraving right.
mm,
And that's what's so cool about it is because of the way he does this, by feel, by hand, it just gives you, there's a connection, there's a human connection to this art. Somebody put in a lot of time making this product for you. That's an expression of this person's heart. You know,
mm,
so there's a little bit of all of us in each of these watches, because
mm,
somebody's got to touch these a lot.
yeah, yeah. But so like currently, right now, I was looking at. I didn't know what D4 was. So you are with the Salida 210. You are literally doing work to that movement, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And I read that it's running like plus or minus 4 seconds, like within
Yeah.
chronometers. Okay, all
Yeah.
right, all right, all right. So you still giving the people what they want, what they asking for. People love that. I want to say I want my deviation time to be as close to zero as possible. So you're still giving that.
Yeah, and I want to go back to what is it? John D made the comment about movements are really important, and I absolutely agree with him, on that. And to your point, plus or minus 4 seconds, you can get, I get that with Salida. I get plus or minus 7 sections with the top, La Jouperet. With Balsher,
Hmm.
I get plus or minus 5 seconds. You know, it's really that. But let's be honest, when you look at your watch,
Yeah,
you're not timing anything with your watch. You look at your watch, you're like, yeah, it's about 9:15. If you really want to
yeah.
know what time it is, you pick up your phone and you push the button. It tells you it's 9:14 and 47 seconds. And here's where, and here's a story for everybody out here listening right now. 90% of the time, I don't even set my watch. Like when we were at dinner the other night, my watch said it was
Uh
like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
huh. And I didn't even notice, bro. It just looked good on your wrist. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. And you know what? I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I said, I think it's cool having watches that have that chronometer certification or something within the specs. But I go through watches so much. Like I change, man, bro. I've changed. I put on my PRX or what I call
Yep.
Snake Eyes. I just had on my Hamilton this morning. I went up for a walk. I went for a 3 mile walk this morning, and I had my Hamilton on. Once this is over with, I'm switching out. I got my watches in my bag right now. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I'm putting on something completely different. Um, but for your watches, man, I think it's very interesting. You're like an
I'm gonna come back.
unsung
Hang on. I'm gonna
hero.
come back to John D in a second. John D is blowing me up here. I'm gonna get him in a second.
Hey, well, no, let's address John D. Hey, John D. Man, like he is so active in the chat, man. So I appreciate, man. So let's tackle it. What did John D say?
Don D said wearing an unset, incorrect watch is heresy. Dude, I'm not. I don't know what you're wearing, but I'm wearing art, and art doesn't care what time it is.
Yeah, there you go. I
Love you,
like your
brother.
concept, but I don't care about the movement. But I like your dials. Okay, yeah, and that's the other thing too is that's one thing I do like about you. Now I've sat and watched you and your wife work out there in Philly. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this: how tight knit this community is. So how we get together and on our side of the house, we gather, we eat together, and we talk, we share watch stories. When there at the events, I watched his wife literally cover for Isotope and some other people. She was just moving along and she was explaining and talking to people while he went on a bathroom break or going to get some water or whatever. And that's one thing I can credit to you and your wife. Amazing people. And I'm not here. I don't have to sell a watch. I did leave in the description a link to Warner Wound, that article. I'm going to ask you, it's a good read. Go check it out.
Yeah.
And to their website. To their website. All right. And if you just got here, 5280 is, if you were thinking, yes, it's a mile high. They're part of the Mile High Club.
Fair enough.
So I do want to ask you this with the watches that you do have.
Mhm.
Have you ever considered doing a chronograph?
Yes, we are. That is in the works. Um,
Oh,
it is. It's going to be a very limited release because we are trying to figure out how to do a fully um, engine turned, enameled um, chronograph, but getting those sub dials that are
mhm.
recessed in there and being able to fire everything all at once. We're trying to
Right.
figure this out. At some point, it is on the agenda for 2026, um,
Okay.
and likely um, y- y- we're going to do 10, maybe 10.
Mm. Mm. Okay. So let me ask you this: as far as the models that you have, so all of them are pretty much limited. And oh, that was the other thing too. You guys need to know the other consideration when buying from 5280 is you have to pre-order, and there is a time frame for your watch to get completed. So, what is the time frame? What is the wait time for people generally if
Right
somebody's to
now,
order a watch?
right now we're between 4 and 6 months.
4 or 6 months. Okay,
Yep.
okay. And with that, each model. So I know you have a number of models, different styles and stuff like that. Um, all of them are limited. Like, what's the number? Do you guys like? Is it 10, 20? How many do you do of a particular model?
We limit it to 10 of every model.
Okay, okay, okay. So
So and
man, yeah,
that's
like that's really unique.
yeah, and that's pattern and color. So if you see on the website, if you see a pattern and a color, we only do 10 of them. And there are some that we can't even do 10 of. Like we've got our everything but black one right now. Um, we can make two more of them. That's it. That's all the enamel we have. So we will have
Wow,
made six of those total, and that's all we can ever make.
jeez, that's crazy. Man, that is it, man. That is so interesting, man. Because like bro, I've talked to so many different watchmakers, man, from Kokomo guys, um, Fletcherman Von Reese. I've talked, and they don't have those issues, like as far as like dial failures and stuff like that. But I was reading that there was a certain red that you ran out of. Like this, like I think it's done.
Yep.
Is that the same red that I saw at the at Kokomo?
Yep. We have. I think we can make like four more of that one red, and that's it.
Wow, wow.
And that's a
Okay,
crazy thing about the enamels we use because we use mostly Japanese, either Nihon or Shower or Ninamoya. And these are some of these enamels just aren't, they're just not made anymore, or bluntly for health reasons, because making the enamel required crushing up glass, with whatever element chemical gives the color, like cobalt, like the cobalt blue we do is cobalt in the dial. And
Mm,
a lot of the old enamels that are no longer made that were really effective and very less prone to failure all contained lead. So, and we all know how the world views lead, and rightfully so. But in these enamels, it it makes it more workable. And now the new enamels don't have that, and they don't have the same vibrancy. They do not have the same appearance. They just aren't as
mm,
clear as a lot of the older enamels were. So we're limited by
mm,
the stock that exists in the world.
mm. Somebody asked, "Were you going to do a moon phase complication at any time?" That's Eric Mack.
Yeah, I see that. So we once we finish the chronograph, we'll probably do a moon phase, but we've got to overcome that issue of how to add more. Um, a moon phase requires a cutout in the dial. All right, and every
Mm,
time you add another wall into a dial where the enamel sits, where the enamel touches to it, in the shop, it's called champleve. That's a wall, that you fill in. All right, and every
mm,
time you add one of those, you add another stress point that just adds to the risk of failure.
mm.
So every time we talk about doing a complication, um, it just adds another layer of failure. And when we're already failing at 70% with the enameling, the last thing I need to do is amp that up, so I'm losing 8 out of every 10 or 9 out of every 10 dials. Because for the right amount of money, I can do anything. But there comes a point when it's just not worth it for people. It's not worth it for me.
Right, 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 right.
And you can come to me and say, "Hey, I want to do this color and I want to do these things." And I know that enamel, or Bill knows that enamel. We know how it works. We know what the failure rate is. Like, we've got one, fuchsia color that I am dying to use on a dial, and Bill has tried this no less than 300 times, and he has succeeded one time.
Wow.
So yeah, for the right amount of money, sure.
So that would be a piece unique by like an investor, somebody that's like, hey, if somebody came to me like, hey, look, I'm gonna give you X amount of dollars. I need this. I don't care. So that's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting is like, yeah, the failure rate on what you have now. But I'm curious about this chronograph. And will it still have the DNA of what you have now, or is it going to be like completely different?
What do you mean?
Will it still have the essence of what your pieces are now? For example, um, I can't deny or confirm that there's a company coming out with a chronograph themselves, but Nomadic has their pieces that they have right now,
Uh huh.
but their chronograph that may or may not be coming out looks completely different than anything that they got. I was like, if I didn't know, if you'd have shown me that watch and said this was a Nomadic, I'd be like, no, it's not. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't look like it's made from that. So is that chronograph you guys working? If it comes out, will you be able to tell it's from the 5280 company?
Yep,
Okay.
because all of our watches, regard even though we're doing a niobium dial release, that won't have an enamel on it, our
Mm-hmm.
our our dials start out with hand engraved rose engine turned guilloche, period, the end. You will
Okay.
always know it's one of our watches because it will be hand engraved guilloche, always.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
So,
And this is go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I see a question from Hannibal. Is my process static or dynamic? I'm not sure I understand the question. If you can clarify that, I'll answer it. Tim Cheeseman, is it possible to incorporate gold leaf or similar into enameled dowels? Yes, on our list next year, is to release a it's called a Pioneer, Paillone accent agoo. It's so look up Jockey Droz, Droz, and their Pioneer series. Um, Pioneer means just little pions, which are precious metal, either, can be a fleur de lis, it can be a dash, it can be whatever shape you want it to be, that is layered into the enamel with then clear enamel layered over top of it, fired. So it's embedded in the glass. So the answer to Tim's
Mm,
question is yes.
mm.
So there'll be
You know what?
one that'll be one of our models next year.
Okay. I was just thinking about something like with your failed dolls. You ever think about making like an acrylic Fabergé egg and just putting those failed pieces in there and use that like to sell as art?
Uh, so let me come back to that in a second. So
Okay. All right. Got you.
Big Ten, no, the aesthetics won't change. It's going to be enameled. It's going to be enameled guilloche. It's going to be basataille across the board because that's what we do. Um, and it's draws. You pronounce it Dro. I pronounce it draws. I think maybe John might be right. I love their stuff. So nice. Um, so back to your question, Trap. Were you asking?
Oh, as far as your failed pieces, because I know you said that you really don't get a lot back because they have to separate the material and stuff like that. But have you ever thought about just putting either a frame as art, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just selling it like that, or even posting it up, or just something. You giving it as a gift to somebody that bought a piece or something like that. You ever thought about doing that?
Yeah, we might include those. I got to get that by my dial maker, Bill, who, man, if it does not fit into his vision,
Yeah.
his name's associated with it. He's like, this is not getting out of.
Oh,
Thank you, John. I
fair
appreciate you,
enough.
bro. I appreciate John. Um, he's just not letting that out. Um, he's just not letting that out of his workshop. I've tried. He
Oh,
won't even let
hey,
me take
hey.
some of the failed ones out for, to show at the shows that, hey, this is where we failed. He's like, no. He's a proud man.
Well, run that bomb and ask and see what he say, man. Or even a painting. You should have a painting of it at least or something. Now Bill he's out of Cincinnati, correct?
No, Bill, our dial
Yeah.
maker. No, he's up in Boulder.
Yes.
He's 30 minutes to the northwest of me.
Oh. Oh. Okay. So you guys are rocking Colorado for real.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, man. Hey, I give, brother. Let me see. Hold up. We are just about an hour. We like 6 minutes off an hour, and I know you a busy man. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, so I'm gonna ask that anybody in here right now, please ask your final questions, man. This is the last call for alcohol, okay, so to speak. Um,
I
and I'm
see
going
one
to
question
be
in there.
doing
What
the.
percentage? Hang on. I see a question from somebody. What percentage is
Um,
Chinese? Starting in 2026, none.
mm, mm, okay, and
So
so who's that?
we're
Go
making
ahead.
our cases in Finland now.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right, I want to make sure I got everything out that I needed to know because you actually gave some great information. And I know we were talking about the movements and stuff like that, what was coming out. I appreciate you sharing that with us here. So people can find you down in the description. I left a link to 5280. And also, you'll be at Wind Up New York on the 16th, 17th of next month.
We will be. We're partnering. Well, we're already partnered with Fitwell Buckles, um, and we are helping them with their booth. So we will have our watches at Wind Up New York with Fitwell Buckles.
Okay.
So Hannibal,
Hannibal.
custom work. It depends. Like you want a USMC, um, MSSG 13 dial. You'd have to send me a picture of that. Feel free to send an email to me. John D. Do we have cases size for women? Right now we have a 36. We are working on a 30 or 31 to release first quarter of 2026.
Mm,
And that will have the La Joupere manual wind G1, I think the G101 or G110 movement.
mm, mm,
Yes, we have to because my wife has a 13 millimeter wrist,
mm.
and she
She do
is
got a small wrist.
yep,
She got a small wrist.
and she is all over me to get her a watch that actually fits her, and the 36 is almost too big for her. So we gotta
Okay.
I gotta make the wife happy.
Hey, and listen, when I tell you, he mean every bit of that. They are such a perfect couple together, man. Like you guys complement each other so well. It's interesting. I love the dynamic you guys have. But as far as the watch is concerned, the ones that I put on, I strap to my wrist, extremely comfortable. Love that. But that adjustable buckle was crazy. Y'all, and we didn't even cover that. I know we at the end, but the buckle, it's a micro adjust buckle, man. Like, I ain't never in my life seen anything like that, bro.
Yep.
That's nuts. That is nuts. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, I have a short right now. You can go see it. And she shows it. She displayed, boom, pops it out. That is sick, bro. So you
Yeah.
guys will be in New York, and I'm sure. Listen, I know Amy will be more than happy to show you guys at the booth for what you guys have there. And let me see, bro. I'm telling you, it was there's a lot of watches I've tried on and worn,
Mhm.
and the comfort level of this leather is beautiful, man. It just goes. You know what I'm saying? And even whether you set the watch or not, and I understand. I know John D was like, "Hey, bro, I'm not coming out the crib, man." What he said, something like, "That's like walking outside without your shoes laced or something like that." I like that term, but
What? That's what I
um,
got. That's what I got Velcro for. Who are you kidding, man? Lace
bro,
my
but
shoes
that is
up.
such a amazing watch, man. Okay, Hannibal USMC. Yes, he's a Marine. The old Double Dog. He said, I'm good with 40 to 45 millimeter. That's riskful ignorance. And I just want to make sure I don't want to miss anybody's um, thing. So I'll say this last one, right? And I
I
know
want to
this is
come.
an unfair question,
Now you asked this,
but
but when you're done with this, I want to come back to Ben 10 here in a minute.
what is your
Um,
go to watch out of your collection? What is your go to?
my go-to
Yep, what's your go to?
out of my collection,
Yes, sir.
it's always one of mine.
I know, but I'm telling you, what colorway?
Oh, I like. It depends on my mood, but typically it's that red dial that I just can't make anymore.
I'm gonna send you a picture afterwards, man. I got to get your approval on something before. I was thinking of a T-shirt design. I got something. I'm going to send it over to get your approval before I have it printed. But I want you to see it. I'll send it afterwards and we'll talk. But yeah, you know mine. You know
Yep,
mine. I love, man. That thing is, gosh, that's a beautiful watch. That is such a beautiful watch. Salute to the vets. Yes, any vets in here, man? Salute to you guys.
yep. Props to you guys.
Uh,
Appreciate you so much.
Gator Navy.
Mikhail's Navy,
Yes, man.
nice.
Yup.
Um,
So, hey, bro,
so
I don't have anything else, brother.
I got a curious. I'm questioning Ben 10 there. He's talking about Brigade Flyback has an adjustment buckle. It- are you talking one of the deployant buckles? That's a different adjustment than what Fitwell's doing. Like Fitwell has the patent on this. Like it's crazy that you get half a strap hole out of these
Yep.
movements. They are
Yep.
they are badass. But that's
Yeah.
about us. This is why we work well with Oliver and Fitwell Buckle Company because we all pay attention to those little details that make a difference.
Mm.
And
Mm.
our watches, those dials, it's all about the details, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, man, you guys, check this out. Go check out the website. Look for yourself. Um, If you have any questions, man, subscribe to his newsletter and get what he got coming up, man. And just reach out to him if you got any questions, any more questions. Because I did get one. I got a couple questions on Watch Crunch about your brand. So I recommend that you guys go down in the description, check it out, and go from there. Read the article too, because I think Worn and Wound is the first thing you'll come across. Click that, read it. You'll get more information about Rich. You know, the entrepreneur's entrepreneur. That's who you are, bro.
Listen, man, I'm trying to make art for, listen, I'm making art for me.
I
And
know.
I
I
just hope
know.
that other people like it. We support the arts just across our lives. We make it a point every time we go to a new city to visit the art museum and see what's there, see the masters, see the classics. And it doesn't matter what I
Mhm.
do, I always end up looking at the classics. And that's why we do this, because this is an 800-year-old technique.
Mhm.
Doesn't get a lot more classic than that. And that's what's important with this to me, is to make sure that
Yep.
these artisans, like, I do some of the enameling work. I've gotten really good at it. But it's taken me years to do that. But our artist, like, he's been doing this for 45 years. This guy is, when you talk about a master, they say it takes 10,000 hours to master something. So if you work a full year, you might be able to master something in 5 years, maybe 6 years. He's got another 39 years on top of that.
That's almost longer than I've been alive. For real.
Yeah.
That's interesting, and I wanted to tell you this, and I'm going to say the fact that you are putting out a product that has a technique that started. You even gave some other information like the 1200s, and I'm like, man, that's
Well,
crazy because I dated it back to 1500. But some of the greatest watchmakers or companies that we know of today, like Patek, again, Brigade, Chrono Swiss. There's a whole list of, well, not it's not a lot of people doing it right now though. And the people
no,
that are doing it are major brands, bro. You a micro brand or independent, if you will. And dude, like kudos, man, for even having the cojones to do something like that in this right now. That's what I'm gonna say, bro, because I know it can't be that easy with
well,
tariffs and everything else.
that's a great thing about making our stuff here. We don't, outside of the movements that we get from Switzerland,
Hmm.
in our cases from Finland, we got some tariffs there, but we don't, you know, we make the main part of our stuff, um,
Hmm.
in house,
Right there.
here in the States. So you're not, unless you're out of the country, you have access to our stuff without the tariffs, which is really nice, because the tariffs are crazy, in terms of what they're doing to watch prices. I mean, you're looking at
Mm.
39% coming out of Switzerland,
Woo!
you
Woo!
know.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
have that. You can have that. You can have
it's
that.
but there's a reason that like, when you look at what people are doing, when it comes to, vitreous enamel over top of guilloche, there's only a couple of us in the world doing it. And there's a reason for that,
Mm.
because of that failure rate. There's a lot of people, and I'm gonna go back, and I think it was maybe Hannibal or John D, was talking about, um, you know, Benzinger and, Voltanen. Oh my God, and I love Voltanen stuff. And Shapiro and RGM and Breguet. But when you look at them, nobody is doing, um, Basataya dials. Not nobody, but there are very few people that are doing it. Creeder's doing it. Dro's doing it. Used to be doing it. Haven't done it in a while. Thank you, John D, for the correction there. And there's only a couple people doing this, that have the guilloche, the hand turned guilloche underneath it, and not even, there's you don't want to lose 15 hours and have it
Right,
fail on you,
right.
and you do, and that's what happens. Um, but it's worth the risk to get that art out there, because when you get one of those pieces, like, you got a piece that survived being engraved, and then you got a piece that literally trial by fire and survived the fire and is still there.
Mm, mm. Well, bro, hats off to you.
So
bro. Like
appreciate it.
seriously, hats off to you, and I look forward to seeing what you guys have for the future, man. And that's one of my things, man. I would love to see more and more people gravitate towards micro brands and then companies that's doing this. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what people been asking for. People want unique stuff. People want that. I'm like, all right, it's here. This is another avenue. So let's just use this time, this opportunity to look and see, like, hey, is this something that you may want to gravitate towards to put in your collection? Only you can decide that. I can't decide it for you, man. I just bought
How
the man here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, you
the,
know.
the question I ask everybody is the question I ask everybody, and we've talked about this, and you had a good laugh at me when I talked about this. Oh, Dufour makes nice watches. They're Big Ten. They make good stuff. Um, you know, micro brands are, you know, one of the few times when you get to be unique,
Oh yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
know, and you can go to any, and even a lot of the micro brands, it's hard to get something that's different every time. Piece unique, you can get that from Shapiro, you can get that from Voltanen, you can get that from QoS. You've got those guys that are doing this, but it's in that independent space because you're not going to get, um, you know, you're not going to get unique with Rolex. You're not going to get unique with AP. You're not going to, they might have one or two one-offs, but their catalog is what it is, and they're amazing watches. But
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, outside of getting a limited run from like Creedor or from Ulysses Nardin, or a company that's got, can do is agile enough to release something that's a limited, that's limited and unique. You got to get that from the independent space.
Yep. Yep. FP Jorn. That one right there, boy. That's a beautiful watch. This is expensive though.
But again, you're in that independent space, and let's be clear about this. With Jorn, yes, you're paying for his movements and the things he does, in terms of the movement
Mhm.
itself, but you're paying for art.
Yes.
When you get one of the Jorns, that's a piece of art on your wrist. When you get a Benzinger, that's a piece of art on your wrist. All right, and they just
Yep.
happen to tell time, and that's when you get into those unique things. Shorikoff, yeah, doing some crazy stuff. Shorikoff is nuts. Um, just really fun stuff. And the question is do you want to watch or do you want art? And sometimes you get lucky and you get both.
Ajax Honey is my new favorite. Fire.
uh,
That's what's up, bro. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
exactly.
So, bro, I'm gonna let you get because I know you got business. Get back to the wife, whatever you got to do, bro.
Yeah,
Thank you for spending your time with me. This won't be the last time we talk and get together. Maybe we can schedule something in the future and just go from there. I will tell you guys, just subscribe to the mail letter so you get updated on what he's doing next. So you're not left out. I love the fact that you're independent. I do. I appreciate the time you spent. I actually, man, that night we talked after dinner, amazing, amazing. Man, I talked about you guys all night. I was like, yo, man, dude, do you know that Rich is like this, man, and Amy is this? They friends are, man, bro. It was. I just had a great time. I could just sit back and watch you guys interact, man. It was beautiful, man. So we'll do. I'm gonna have to come out there to Colorado again.
have
I've
to.
been out there in some years, man, but yeah, I told you the syrup. The syrup is where I want to go eat, and then of course, you pick where you want to. But definitely got to go back to the syrup, bro. I love that place.
All
Love it,
right.
absolutely love it.
Well,
So,
we'll
I
take you up to the workshop and let you stick your hands on the engine machine and find out what it's really all about.
hey, bro,
And you can
I'm
watch how
I'm
easy
there.
it is to screw up. I tried it
Okay,
one
I'm there.
time. I tried it one time and I was like, boop, crash.
Hey, I'm there. I am there, bro. Thank you for the invitation. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rich from 5280 Watch Company, man. One of the greatest entrepreneurs,
Appreciate
collectors,
you.
like enthusiasts ever. Drink specialists too. Drink specialists. So appreciate you for your time, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's a wrap. You already know my saying. Until the next lightning strike, y'all be blessed. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you, brother.
Peace, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks, everybody.